Philadelphia, 106.5 FM. We Talk Weeklies. After the talk with your boy Charles Gregg and the beautiful
Lauren Sizzle.
And the beautiful. Oh, I don't hear you, classic. Give me one more again.
Classy Lady Sparkle.
There she go, that voice right there. And so, yeah, man. So, we about to definitely get into some of the things that we like, especially my favorite segment of the show. And why is this my favorite segment of the show? Are the interviews, because I get to talk to the good old people. I get to see and hear the things that they're doing in those streets, right? Love the people in the streets because they're the real people, right? And so, without further ado, who's going to do the intro? That's you, classy lady. Tell me who we have today. Who do we have today?
Today we have Nidrea. Am I pronouncing that right?
It's Nidrea.
Nidrea, such a beautiful name. We have Nidrea Williams. She's a certified trauma empowerment coach, an experienced trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapist with 20 plus years in the mental health. Oh, we're going to get into this with her. As an in-school counselor at a public high school in Havertown, she guides teens through the use of trauma-based techniques and focuses on the well-being state of emotions. Her mission statement is Revitalized Hope and Healing is committed to empowering women and overcoming their past trauma by offering trauma empowerment coaching and motivational speaking services. Y'all already know what to do. Let's give a warm We Talk Weekly welcome to Nidrea Williams.
Let me give her a round of applause. How are you?
I'm doing great.
I'm doing great. Why don't we move that mic a little closer to you?
Okay.
Yeah, there, just get
That good?
Yeah, that's a little. Can you help her out real quick? We just want to make sure we hear that beautiful voice.
Yeah, it's a little stiff
There
sometimes.
you go.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There you go. You sound great. So first and foremost, before we start anything, I gotta ask, how was your day? How was your day today?
My day was good. It was
Okay.
quiet. It was good. I was home.
Okay. Yeah. So we the world has been talking about pretty much mental health, right? And trauma and all of that, right? Especially as it relates to the political sector right now, right? Where would you tell somebody to start feeling torn with what side to take, or just getting involved into this push and pull of politics? I just want to start there because there's people arguing back with each other over this stuff. There's people, I seen it today. I'm deleting this person. I can't believe they said they was okay with some of the things in Project 2025. And I looked at some of the things and I was like, there's some things in there that I feel like needs to happen, just as a tongue-in-cheek moment. But what do you tell people who are feeling just kind of in today's world, the push and pull, and feeling like I need to this is just way too much? How do you approach that?
Sometimes you have to turn things off.
Hold on, let me give you a round of applause for that. There you go. You could just delete somebody. Yep, no, absolutely. Yep, just stop, just scroll.
No, you do. Like, social media is a lot right now.
Yeah,
Everything you see is not what it is.
that's right.
Like, my husband can watch the news all day long. And I grew up like that with my parents, and I can no longer do it. Like, in the line of work that I do, I just cannot start my day anymore watching the news. I just can't. And he'll be like at work or on his way home, did you see this on the news? Did you see that? He'll send me stuff, and I cannot do it anymore. I have to decompress. I have to, like, separate myself for the work that I do. So sometimes you just have to disconnect and turn things off
Right.
and not get involved or have a time and a place for it, right?
Right.
So like if you know you're going to go into this environment and it's going to be talked about, and you're going to go in this space, it's going to be talked about, and at home I'm not going to bring it up. I'm not going to look at it because I know when I go here,
Right.
it's going to have to be a topic and I can't avoid it. You know, because some spaces you cannot avoid it.
Right.
It's just going to happen.
Right. Right. Right.
So you have to have your own space set up where you can have a peace of mind. And you can turn your phone off. Like, you can turn your phone off. You have the power. Like I tell clients, the best thing about the phone is you can turn it off. You don't have to answer it. You can hang up. You can put it down and be done.
You're in control.
Like when someone is talking to you out of their face, you can end the call
Yeah.
and be done.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to go any further. It's not like face to face.
Right. Right. Right.
You know, so it's a shame because kids, our children, I was watching a special and the children were saying how much they're affected by the phone and social media and all the different forms of social media that they use. Like Snapchat is a big thing for the teens.
Yeah.
And they said that their moods are dependent upon what they wake up to on their phone. If someone has replied, if the message is so-and-so on social media to whatever they posted, it is contingent upon their mood. If something has transpired that they don't like, it sets off their whole entire day.
Yeah. I think that's really sad because, especially now in Philadelphia, Philadelphia is such a small city, I guess, when it comes to like different cliques and different gangs and all that. And social media plays a huge part in what we're seeing now when it comes to crime, and especially with youth. I just remember, during the pandemic, students weren't in school and everybody was out. And then when they went back, there was this huge influx of just, violence and different things. And I was hearing from, because, my son was still in school at the time, and I was hearing from him that he just knew all the beefs and how they started from social media. It was just terrible. And just being able to disconnect from it, I feel like that's what young people need.
What started you to get into this field? Like, these are unsung hero occupations and careers. Like, where did that seed get planted that made you want to be in that career?
I kind of fell into it. To be honest, I was pregnant with my son, and I knew I needed to go back to school because he had to go to private school. So I needed to make some more
I know
money.
that.
I know that's right.
I needed to make some more money, and I chose the wrong field, honestly, because
Yeah.
it's a struggle. But I went to school undergrad for business, and I fell into this. I said, I'm going to go back and get my master's, and I had other plans to start a business. And I just fell in love with this major, clinical psychology. I love psychology in high school when I took the course. And I think nature versus nurture, to be honest, I started to figure out what was wrong growing up when I was learning things, what was going on with my family from what I was learning. And I just wanted to learn more. And then I realized like what I could do in helping. And I just became like a permanent student since. So it's not easy by far. And I pulled, concentrated towards the trauma because that's what I was attracting. Like in every role and position, because I've pretty much done it all since I've been working in the field for over 20 years. In the community, it seemed like I was always getting the heavy trauma clientele. PTSD, sexual assault, all that kind of stuff. And during the pandemic, I was the busiest.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I got laid off, and then that's when I kind of just went full-fledged with my business at home, and I was like doing PRN work for Penn at that time. And you want to talk about every story that you saw on the news.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting those women.
Wow.
I remember I had one woman who had lost 4 sons to gun violence.
Oh my God.
And a lot of the stories that I had were women that had experienced something in childhood, and now it was manifesting in adulthood.
Yeah.
So it was like one thing after another, and then all the calls I was getting privately for my practice were the same things. So I'm like, let me just go ahead and change my my title. Let me just wrap this up in one. I mean, because realistically, a lot of the issues all stem from trauma.
So I want to talk a little bit about that, because your specialty is a long title, trauma focused cognitive behavioral therapist, right? And so let's talk a little bit about that. What does that actually mean, right? And how would that support someone who would be, I guess, supported under that school?
So I was trained under trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, and that's an actual model that you use mainly towards the children, like helping them work towards their trauma story and their narrative, so that they can be able to, at the end of the 12 weeks, be able to write their narrative. Like, actually, it's not like inside of them anymore. They're able to write out the whole story and be able to verbalize it and come together with their caregivers and talk about it.
Right.
The trauma empowerment is the coaching part. So I kind of moved on to the coaching part to where I'm just working towards helping women, that's my niche down, deal with the things that happen to them that they don't normally talk about. That's really causing them to be stagnant and stuck, and getting them to work towards speaking about that and healing from that. A lot of the cognitive behavior things, doing exercises, working on changing thought patterns and reframing things, because the big thing for me is letting our women know that rejection is really redirection. So big thing with CBT is reframing. So we reframe that, rejection, you really weren't dismissed. You were just redirected. So
So that led you to, let's talk a little bit about revitalized hope and healing, right? So all of that, I guess, led you to kind of create this, this organization that's specializing in it. And what is your direction, or what's something that you would hope to achieve based off of this new organization?
So Revitalized Hope and Healing is helping women revitalize the hope that's been lost. So the thought was, I talked to God when I was coming up with the name, and hope and healing is what normally gets attacked, right? We lose hope for the moment, but it's not totally lost. So when folks have come to me, it's at that point of, I'm feeling hopeless. I don't know what to do. All these things have happened and everyone's left me, or, I have nowhere to turn. I didn't know who to call. I landed upon you, and now can you help me? Right. And then we work towards the healing. And then at the end of it, you are alive again, like re-revitalized.
I like that. Yeah.
So that's where the name came from. And, established in 2017. But I really didn't get started till like about 2019. Now we're working more towards like the coaching and empowerment. I'm on a speaker tour. We just came from...
Hold on. There you go.
Right.
You round of applause. There you go.
We just came from the DMV. So I'm really just letting God lead, just showing up and letting God take over. Like I'm a real like type A personality. So I tried like February, it was like God said we're going to go on a move. We were here in Philly, and I told everyone we're not coming back here till 2025. And I said first stop is Atlanta. And we went to Atlanta in June.
There you go. Shout out to Atlanta.
And then all my planning just went God just took over. So whatever God is saying, he's saying, and then we show up and then he does the work. So women have come to the events and they've left healed. I got my healing in Atlanta. So it's been really powerful.
Wow. Now, you spoke about like growing up, not knowing what not to do from family members or whomever. That's considered generational trauma. How, and tell us what techniques have you given far as how to overcome generational trauma?
Yeah, that's good.
One, we have to learn how to speak about it.
Nice.
Generationally, we have learned culturally as a people of color, the color that we have, that we don't talk about it.
Okay.
It stays in the house. It stays in the church. We don't go to therapy. Therapy has become a little bit more normalized since the pandemic. It's been more of I can sit on my couch and get therapy now because it's virtual. It's a little trendy because it's in culture because it's in the songs and everything. Exactly. Now everybody's getting therapy, so people feel a little bit more comfortable. But here's the thing: I learned this while we were away in the DMV over the last weekend. Our generation is like the 30s, 40s. We're going to therapy, but the 50, 60, 70-year-olds are like, what you doing that? We don't talk about that. You crazy. Like, what's wrong with you? Why you going to therapy? Only crazy people go to therapy because they're still stuck. So we've come to grips of it's okay to go to therapy. I want my child in therapy because my child's in school going into crises. So I'm aware, and now I need to go to therapy too. But we still have our elders that are still looking upon us like something is wrong, and we still had that generation to teach, and it's really hard to teach them.
Yeah.
You can't.
They're stuck in their ways.
You can't teach them. Yeah. So we have to be encouraged to speak out about it. And you know, I had an event the other day, and it was so empowering for the women to just be able to talk about. I started off with like, when was the first time you remember being rejected? And they sit and they're like, oh, you're going to make me cry. But it's like the thing that you held in all this time because no one was able to listen to you. No one wanted to hear you. You could never share anything like that because you never had the space. So it's getting the ability to be able to speak about it, to talk about it, to say that it happened. Because it happened to you. It's nothing wrong with you, but it happened to you. And a lot of times we weren't even believed that something happened.
I want to not necessarily push back, right? But I do want to ask, is there a thing about sharing too much, right? Is there a thing as it relates to the idea of this social media piece of putting everything out there to everybody, right? That's not necessarily therapy, right? Therapy is coming to someone like you and saying, okay, I'm giving you my world versus let me run a social media and give the world, right? So what's your position on that? Because I do believe there is an argument on both sides. One, to say that people need to talk about what those issues are that's plaguing them because it's other people that actually are going through that same thing, right? But I see the other side when someone argue that everything isn't for everybody, so to speak, right? And so how do you walk that fine line of sharing but not sharing too much, if that makes sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense because what you're saying is that some things you share can trigger others.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right?
Right.
So you have to be careful what you're sharing, and everything is not the appropriate place.
Right.
Right? So again, we talked about like turning off social media because people do that and it's not safe. So social media is not a safe place.
Yeah. Say one more again.
Social media is not a safe place. You never know what you're going to scroll through
Right.
when you scroll, right? So I am very much aware, like I only follow certain people. I make sure that only certain things show up in my timeline so I'm not triggered in that way, right? That's one thing that you all should be doing so that you don't have those occurrences, because you can't control that, right? And then two, social media is not the place for you to like have your therapy sessions. Right? You can follow people that can give you some good tips and tricks, right? But like, it's not for you to actually have those venting sessions. This kind of stuff is stuff you have a safe space where you feel comfortable. Like those ladies I met with, they wouldn't have shared that kind of stuff on social media. They felt comfortable in a safe space.
That's right.
Like, those are the topics that you share in safe spaces. Social media is not a safe space. So those folks that are sharing those kind of messages, it might be good to privately message them and say, hey, I have a person that, you might want to talk to. Like, I have some information. Have you, thought about just, and it's not being facetious. It's just saying, hey, here's some information. Here's some referrals for you. Here's some resources, because they're struggling. Obviously, they're struggling. And some people don't have the people to talk to.
That's right.
So you can't judge them, right?
Right.
Some people, they look to social media for community. So you cannot judge them. They don't. Some people only know what they know.
No,
It's almost like a cry out too.
Yeah. Like some people are crying out, and some people are that close to making really poor decisions. So we can't say, oh, they shouldn't be doing that. They should know better. They might not know better, and they might need someone to say, hey, I got you. Like I did see something that was really nice. A lady that was losing her home, and they said on TikTok, she had posted it, and so many people reached out from the area in Dallas and offered help to help her put things in storage.
Oh, I saw that. She was being evicted. And all these people showed up.
And things like that do happen. Like you can, cry out and people can help.
Oh, go ahead, Sizzle.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I just had a vision. I just kind of, popped into my head. I snickered to myself because I see that all the time. Somebody's just getting on there and then they're just going on this whole tangent, personal stuff, even about other family members. And there's no one ever says to them, don't do that here, or you can get help. Or they may say, don't post this on here, but they don't offer the alternative of getting help. So that's just so important,
I personally think that people are now trying to go viral. Like the woman who was crying out, and then it was her relationship, and now she's making money. You know what I mean? So it's like they still have the mental health, but now it's like it's cool to do. But my question was, with that being said, it's so many people who are now, I'm real. I'm going to tell you how it is. I'm going to body shame you. No, you should just, take the realness. And it's becoming abusive. So now you got these people who, because the internet or the media is now saying, be real and just tell it like it is. But now you're becoming the brutal person, which gives another person the trauma.
That's right.
So now it's like there's this seesaw now where people are being real based on what the media says about not sugarcoating stuff. But now you got someone who's receiving this cyberbullying and now dealing with trauma. Even with our politicians right now, you got Joe Biden and Trump, and it's almost like with the media is hyping it up to say, someone who can't really speak, not far from age with each other, but it's kind of a bully with, the Sleepy Joe, or, you know what I mean?
They're controlling the narrative.
So what do you tell your clientels to, I know it's like stop with the, social media, but is it also another kind of confidence thing that you can build in them? Or what advice would you give?
That's exactly what you're saying. Like, how do you value yourself? Like, a lot of times we can differentiate what's real and what's not, right?
Yeah.
If we are high on our self-worth, So it affects us the most when we're not thinking really good about ourselves.
Yeah.
Like if
Right.
we don't think well about ourselves, then it's easy for us to spiral down. But if we're working on our self-worth and we think that we're worthy, and that doesn't apply to me. I don't like I'm not in that situation. Like that body shaming I don't even think that way. Like I don't fit in that category.
Right.
You know, I don't even see that. I'm not talking about myself, but I don't see that because I think of myself differently. I value
Right.
myself differently. So we work on that, like
Good, yes.
self-worth and value, and not dealing with the self-doubt.
Yeah.
You know, and that goes back to the rejection. Like if we are working on that, then we're not affected about that because we kind of work through the rejection. We navigated through all the no's. We
Yeah.
know better. Like people are going to say that.
Right.
Like people are going to do that. People are going to challenge us in that way. But we have to toughen up because we know who we are.
Right.
You know, God said who we are. You know, God has told me who I am, and I don't really care who else has to say what.
That's
you
right.
know.
Exactly.
So if we go back to that, and that's another thing about me. You know, I can never denounce God in it. So if I remember when I was starting my practice, I debated whether I was going to have anything about, you know, my religion. And you know, someone said to me, well, if you don't, then who are you going to attract, you know? So it was like something, because when I did, I chose to, and because I never denounced God, everyone that called me was like, you know, because I was looking for someone that was a black Christian woman, you know?
Wow.
So, and I couldn't find anybody, you know, and when I found out you was black and you was Christian, you know, they were excited. So if we have the fear in God and God only, it doesn't really matter what anyone else has to say. And I think if we go back to that first and foremost, you know, and I bring my people back to that, you know, if we are valuing ourselves and our worth, if that is in, you know, check, we can start there and then we can work further down. But when that is low and tainted, that's where it's easy for all the other things to just come in and seep in and
That's
destroy.
right. I agree with that. You know what? And as you say that, right, I'm going to read a couple different behaviors, right? And I want y'all to just think about this, right? One, mood modification, silence, tolerance, withdrawal symptoms, conflict, and relapse. I just gave y'all behaviors of, it sounds like substance abuse, but this is actually diagnosed as social media addiction behavior. That's wild, right? And so when it comes to, right, us understanding those behaviors, we have to think about, are we truly understanding what we think? Because most of us say, oh, I ain't addicted. That's the criteria. It's addictive social media disorder.
Wow.
That's crazy, right? And this was, I'm on the addictioncenter.com if y'all want to look this up. And it's just, social media addiction is a behavior addiction that is characterized as being overly concerned about social media, driven by an uncontrollable urge to log on to or use social media and develop so much time and effort to social media that it impairs other important life areas. Crazy, right?
Wow.
Certain things that we look over, right? And that just goes back to your point, right? What do we feel about ourselves, right? And are we conscious enough to see where we're falling short, identifying it, and kind of just logging off, so to speak, right? Most of us don't know we're addicted. So if you feel like you have to always pull out your phone, unfortunately, it looks like you're have social media addiction disorder. It's crazy, right? No.
Try one thing, right?
Yeah.
Let's just sit for a second. And
Sure.
what do we do when we first wake up?
Pick up our phone. Well,
We don't even brush our teeth.
Yeah,
like nobody brushes their teeth. They just go right to their phone. Like
Yeah, I used to. I realized it was becoming a problem.
roll over.
And I said, this is, yeah. But we're surrounded by everything electronic, everything AI,
is.
from your Alexas to your cars. That's exactly what it is. You're opening your door, you're opening your vehicles. You can't even buy modern stuff anymore because of how the way it is, you know, and they're programming us to be human computers because here, think about this. When you use GPS and you're going somewhere, as soon as you turn it off, now you've been to this destination 5 times. You can't even get there without turning GPS, and you've been there 5 times.
So look,
So when people realize that, why don't you go look at landmarks, turn it off? Because back in the day, they had you had to print it out. Do not use it, but challenge yourself.
MapQuest.
But so what was you about to say, Sid?
No, I was agreeing with you. What I was saying is that are we being programmed, or are we allowing people to program us?
I
That
think it's
peels back a layer.
I think
right?
it's both.
It's
I
both,
think two
okay.
things could be right at the same time.
I agree. Yep. I
Yep.
agree. Yep.
So I'm gonna challenge you, right? Think about this. If I said that you had to wake up and think about 5 things you're grateful for each morning, and these are the 5 things that if you didn't announce those 5 things that you were grateful for, they would be taken away.
I'm breathing, waking up.
The
like,
air. Yeah.
The air. Jeez.
Your lungs working.
There you go.
Think about it. Like, so you can't pick up the phone, but you have to start the morning with 5 things that you're grateful for. And if you don't do this every day, God's going to take them away from you.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Wow,
A challenge.
that's a challenge.
Like, we can always think about what we don't have,
That's right.
right?
Right.
What we need, what's missing, but what do we have?
What's your gratitude to that?
What if God said, I'm taking this from you because you don't thank me for it? And all you was worried about was your phone when you first woke up this morning. So, therefore, if you worried about your phone, you can have your phone, but I'm going to take everything that you didn't thank me for this morning away from you. What you going to do then?
That's right.
Wow.
That's right. So that's a good challenge, and I mean, to that point, it's probably a good exercise to start thinking if you don't already do this. Wake up and name 5 things that you're thankful for as soon as you wake up.
That's an exercise I give my clients.
So there you go. Let me give you a round of applause for that.
What's the ripple effect? What's that?
Meaning?
Meaning, like, is there? I read it in the bio. Like a ripple effect. Is it where it's almost like C says it all the time? Teach one.
Each one teach 3.
Each one teach 3. I used to say each one teach 1, but each one teach 3. So is it the ripple effect is that you make sure that with one client that you're able to pour in and invest and knowing that they're going to spread that along?
So for me, like, I want the women to be healed because I was once that woman that was struggling mental health wise, right? I thought I was hiding it from my son, but I wasn't.
Oh, wow.
You know, when he was struggling at 16, he said, Mom, I know what depression is. That was when I was 8 and you was in the room in the dark.
No.
Shout out to that emotional intelligence. Shout out to him.
So we as women, we have the most contact with our children, right? My heart is with the kids because the children are our future, right? And that's our legacy. So that's the ripple effect for me. So if our women are mentally sound and our infants pick up on our emotions at infancy, the facial expressions, they pick up on emotions. In utero, they can pick up on anxiety, right? So if we can get our women mentally sound, mental wellness together, that builds on our legacy, right? Because the more women, we have women, how many women are in a daycare center versus the men?
98%.
Okay, so how
come
many
from child
infants? How many infants are in the daycare center?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the infants pick up on emotions.
They do.
How many women come to work at a daycare center not emotionally sound?
There you go. Bringing that right into
Yeah.
the daycare.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
So that's the generation after generation after generation. You talk about breaking generational trauma. So we can get these women mentally sound. You're talking about our legacy.
Yeah.
And I'm all about legacy building, right?
Right.
Don't get me started talking about that. Don't get me started
No,
talking
I mean,
about
that's one
daycare.
thing we as a people don't focus on enough is our legacy.
It's not. It's
Yeah.
not.
You just hit on something. My background is in healthcare, and it's epigenetics. But even before before you procreate, let's just say a 20-year-old, and she doesn't have children until she's 22. If she's in a stressful environment at 20, once that seed is implanted, it's now, the embryo is now in a sac, the amniotic sac of stress. So when this child is born, even if it starts to wear off, that muscle memory for that child is now going to be stressed. So even if they grow up in suburban or whatever, this child can still gravitate to a familiarity of stress. So what you just said is absolutely true, that it starts within, even before the sperm or the embryo is made, because now this woman is stressed, and now this is where this child is growing.
I'm living proof. I said that I wanted to send my son to private school, so I paid lots of money for him to go to private school from the time he started, right? Daycare on. And I cried every day during my pregnancy.
Oh.
Yeah.
My son had to get assessments to go to private school, pay a lot of money for those, and he scored high on the social emotional issue.
How I just told you, so that's social emotional. He's socially intelligent.
But it was an issue. I had him in a Montessori school, Waldorf School
okay,
in
that's good.
Philadelphia, right? And they wouldn't promote him to the first grade because it was like 3.5 to 5.5, 6.5 or something like that, because they were afraid, because it's a social where he scored there, he wouldn't be ready to move forward with the older kids because of his emotions, his emotional states. He's still that way.
Yeah.
No matter how much money I paid, no matter what he had access to, he's still that way. He's 20 something years old. And that was in utero that
Yeah.
developed.
Does he cry a lot?
No, he doesn't cry a lot, but he talks a lot.
You know,
Get it out,
I
baby
don't
boy.
want to pivot. I don't want to pivot the conversation, right? But there's conversation when it comes to relationships, right? Of women wanting men to be more emotional intelligence, but they can't handle it when he's really emotional intelligent, because now they calling him, oh, you lame, or you giving me too much. But you just said he wanted them to be in touch with his feelings and emotions, right? And so that just goes back to the point of what we really want and what we identify, and saying what we really want. We have to truly be in tune with what we really want. Otherwise, we'll be getting something that we thought was cool to say that we really wanted, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very true.
And so what it was something that you mentioned that I just want to jump on to, right? Oh yeah, real quick. This time flew already. It's already 9 o'clock. I could talk to you all day. I think we're going to bring you back. But what would you say to someone, because I like to allow space for not only safe spaces and growth, but to be able for people to come on We Talk Weekly and get resources, get information, right? For someone who may come to the show, come to our page, right? And watch this interview, and they may feel broken. They may feel, toxically traumatized, so to speak. They might have PTSD. They may feel like it's over for me and this is the last moment, right? Can you give a word or have a conversation real quick for someone who might be watching this if they feel like that?
Sure. That person needs to know that they're not alone, right? There's always someone that you can talk to. Now we have the crisis line. I think it's like text. You can text 888. anyone there can text you back or call you and talk. You can call them and you can talk to them about anything. You don't have to be like in a full crisis. They'll work and talk to you. They can even come out to assess you. If you're in danger, you can go to the police station. You have to see a lot of times, and I have to go here, a lot of times people are scared to let others know that they need the help. And when we are a strong person, we think that someone is supposed to know that we need the help, because we might be, stepping back a little bit or whatever. But we have to like speak out.
Yeah.
We have to speak up and say, hey, I'm not feeling myself right now. And don't do it through social media, but like pick up the phone. And another thing, this came up a few days ago too. Pop up on some people. Like check in on some people. Like if someone is, trying to let you know something is not sounding right, like don't just keep texting them. Pop up.
Yeah.
Like go knock on the door. Be evasive, because they might not be able to verbalize it, but the little hints and clues might be letting you know that they need you to stop by. I've been that person before, and it's hard being that strong friend, because, being professionals, you guys know a lot of times you need that person.
That's right.
Some of the people watching this probably need that person, but they don't want to let the other person know. Some of the males don't want to let another person know they're struggling, right? If you see one of your brothers like distancing himself, not showing up like he used to, pop up on him. If somebody's on here that is feeling that way, let someone know. Don't just be like giving the hints. Sometimes your other friends, if you're a strong friend or not a strong friend, people don't know how to approach you, and they just need to know that you do need the help, or just ask.
Great advice. One of the things that I like to say to men, that was excellent advice. Thanks for that. One of the things that I tell men is, because we have this issue where, and the ladies too, but for the most part, men, we always all right? Sometimes we have this thing where someone be like, hey, what's going on? Everything good? And we be like, yeah, everything good. And we might have just lost someone.
Yeah.
Right? And so I would just say, believe it or not, be honest for once.
Exactly.
Be honest for once. Let someone know that you're not doing really good, because maybe they can help, right?
And sometimes it's economics.
Yeah.
Like they can't pay their bills, they trying to get a job, and they don't want the world to see them in that state because they feel like they're less than.
Yeah.
So they don't talk about it. Yeah. So
And you never know who has the resources.
That's right. That's why
You
let
never
someone
know.
Yeah.
Like sometimes people don't tell me exactly what they need, and if they just say like, "Hey, I do you know?" and like I'll know something. Like, and the same thing for me. Like I've been in a season of just asking. So I'm like, listen, do you know? Do you know something? And people do have the answers. Like you just never know, and I like that. Just be honest.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times people don't want to tell the truth. One thing about that, too, is stick around for the answer. I can't stand it.
Yes.
Don't ask me how I'm doing. And it is the day that I really want to tell you the truth. I want to say, listen, actually, I'm not doing okay. And you keep going by.
Yes.
That burns my soul.
Yes.
Because I really got up the nerve to tell you how I really feel. And you didn't want to hear it. Don't fake ask me what I'm doing. Like, stick around to hear the answer. Like, seriously. That is something that you could really do for somebody. Stick around. Like, ask the question when you really have time.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what? To that point, I want to ask you your thoughts on this. Someone recently, and I felt them with this because I lost my mom. Spark lost her mom. But
Sorry.
this young lady lost a parent, and she said, and I felt her. She said, "Don't say to me, I'm praying for you."
I know you're talking about.
And it hit me, and I was like, I hated when someone told me that when they found out that my mom passed away. I can't put my finger on it, right? What triggered me to that irritated me so much, right? I still to this day can't articulate why that angers me. But what do you say to people? What type of advice would you give to someone who want to pay respects to someone, the dear friend that may have lost a relative? What would be the appropriate response, or what do you think they should do in that manner?
Grief is long lasting.
Yeah.
Right? It comes in waves, right? The best thing that you can say is I'm here.
Right.
Like, I think we're in a rush to say something.
Yeah.
And we never know the right thing to say.
Yeah.
Right? But at any capacity, if you need me, I'm here. And I think sometimes the person just needs you to pop up,
Yeah.
to call.
I will pop up.
To call at the right time. Like, to just show them, like, how you really feel.
Yeah.
But, like, you might not have to just say it. Like, if you gonna pray. Like, you don't have to say, I'm gonna pray for you. Like, just pray. You know? Like, you don't have to say it. But you can just say, I'm here for you however you need me. Know that I'm here for you. Call me if you need me. And then you do the calling. Sometimes they're not going to answer. You do the popping up. Sometimes they might not answer the door. But you're letting them know that you're there, and you're still giving them that space, because there's no right thing to say.
Yeah.
There isn't.
Right.
There's no right thing to say. I think everyone that has lost someone gets irritated at almost every
Everything,
attempt.
That's right.
Every attempt. There's no right thing to say. So just letting the person know that you're there, and then the action of it. And sometimes you are going to get dismissed. But if you're that type of person to that person, it's not going to matter to you.
Hercules. Round of applause. Excellent. Time flies. I want to thank you for coming to the show.
You're welcome.
One thing
Thank
that
you
we
for having me.
absolutely, one thing we say is once you come to the show, you're a friend to the show, so you're always welcome to come back. But before, before I let you go, why don't you tell everyone real quick, do you have anything coming up that people can kind of watch for? But also, why don't you let everyone know how they can find you, how they can get in contact with you, all that good old stuff.
Sure. We're still touring. So the next stop on the tour is the Demand What You Deserve tour. We'll be in Dallas, August 24th. Jersey City, September 28th. And then we'll be in Houston, November 2nd. You can find me at rehopecoaching.com, rehope_Coach Williams on IG, and ReHope Coach on Facebook, and ReHope Coach on YouTube. And you can find my books on Amazon. And yeah, that's it.
There you go.
Do you take health insurance?
I do not. Private pay only.
Okay.
She want the bag right here. Open
But
that
I
briefcase.
am accepting clients.
Okay.
No doubt.
Yes.
Yeah. Do they have a number or something they can reach you? Or
Sure. 267-574-0634.
Yeah, one more time.
267-574-0634.
website or anything?
ReHopeCoaching.com.
ReHopeCoaching.com.
One more thing before you go, just let everyone know that if there is someone out there, struggling, what advice would you give them?
To speak up. To speak up. Let someone know that you need the help. And don't be afraid to call. Dial 888 to text. And you can call that number as well to speak to someone. And let someone know it's okay to say that I am struggling, because no one is going to know unless you say something, and it's okay. And keep talking about it until you get the right person, because sometimes you talk to the wrong people.
Yeah.
Make sure that you talk to the right person. There are people out here qualified for you to speak to.
All right, Nadria.
Yes.
Reach out to her. No doubt. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have to go. I'd like to thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you.
Excellent.
having me.
Absolutely. We talk weekly after the talk on WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We talk weeklies after the talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful
Lawrence's
and the beautiful
Classy Lady Sparkle.
and the beautiful.
Nigeria Williams.
There you go. So I don't want you guys to go anywhere. When we come back, we have good news and bad news with Classy Lady Sparkle. We'll be right back, y'all. Holla.
We just want to get a little background as to who the Fantastic Noise is and the noisemakers, if you can let us know.
Yes, absolutely. So once again, I am Fantastic Noise. I am the original noisemaker, so no one's going to make as much noise as me, okay? And right here we have the Noisemaker Band. This is only half of it. The other stuffs are upstairs. My Kevin Lamar, Lonnie, and Dobbs, who are the actual band members. These are the background singers. And we came to make some noise. We came to bring that noise today. That's what we try to do. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did you guys get together?
Oh man, so it started with, I've been doing this on my own for almost 3 years now. And man, I guess each of these people here have different background stories. Most of us went to the same church together and we just kept going. This one, her, this is one of my assistants here, one of like my biggest supporter, my biggest shooter here. She's an assistant. So we just been building, and the same thing with upstairs with the band, just meeting through people, kept networking, kept seeing, and it was just like God ordained. Bam, here we are.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, could you guys do We Talk Weekly a favor?
Yes.
Can you give us a drop in a melody type way?
Oh, a Millie type way?
Yes.
Okay. So we talk weekly?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to do something like this. We talk weekly, come and hear us. We talk weekly, come and hear them. 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 We talk weekly, come and hear them.
We Talk Weeklies after the talk of WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weeklies after the talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful
Classy Lady Sparkle.
Lawrence Sizzle was letting the guests out.
That was a great interview.
I got to move this chair. Talk a little